Hey, what's up? It's Nathan Williams with Crazy Marketing. Now this video right here is a compilation of several videos that help make up the course that you're taking right now. Now to help you navigate through everything, I've provided timestamps down below in the description, so I recommend going, check out those timestamps, watching what's relevant to you. Let's get into it. In this section of the course, we're going to be talking about optimization, testing, tweaking, things like that. And so before we get into all that type of stuff, I want to go ahead and talk to you about the different columns we have. So we need to have the right information and data available for us in order to make some decisions, right? So let's go ahead and adjust some columns and get the ones we need so we can make good educated decisions later on. All right, so basically we see like the default columns. We can adjust it right here. We have performance as the default column, but there's a bunch of different ones. We got setup, delivery, engagement, video engagement, app engagement, yada yada, on down the list. And you know, each of them show like different column headers basically. And you can go ahead and click through it and kind of see like delivery shows you reach and frequency and cost per 1,000 people reach. So CPM, impressions. Oh, here's CPM. Versus I guess CPR maybe? No, I don't know. But anyway, CPM, etc. So that's kind of how it works, right? Performance is usually a good one to start with, right? Because it shows you the results you're going after, because results are what is important. But more than likely, you're going to want to see some additional information as well. So I recommend setting up your own custom column setup configuration, and I'll give you mine in this video. But you can go ahead and play with it, tweak it, add to it, subtract from it, etc. But to do it, what we want to do is come down to customize columns. And now you can go ahead and add any columns you want, subtract any columns you don't want, and so on. So let's say you wanted result rate, frequency, ad delivery, clicks, CPC, CTR, etc. There's a ton of categories and options here. So here's the categories and options. So engagement, and then we got page post, messaging, media, clicks, awareness, conversion, standard event versus custom conversions, and then the different settings. So object names and ID, status and dates, goal, budget, schedule, targeting, ad creative, tracking, and then we have some A/B test and optimization categories as well. And as you see, you scroll through here, like there's a whole lot to choose from. So you can really get creative and pick exactly what you need to look at. And again, I'll give you mine in just a second here, but I'm just giving you an overview of the columns first. So there we go. That's all the columns. Again, you can click to add them to your thing. And then over here is all your columns. And you can drag and drop them if you want to change the order of them. And then obviously this little X button here removes it as well. And then down here, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a save as preset option. So if you get like a set of columns that you really like, you come in here and you name it, and you go ahead and apply it. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the training. Real quick, I have a special offer that I want to present to you where you can get a digital copy of my book as well as an audio copy. Plus, I'm giving away 20 pre-written emails that make your email writing a piece of cake. And finally, I have a 7-figure funnel. It's the first funnel that I built that generated over 7 figures for a small business, and it includes training on how to actually set up the funnel. If you're interested in that, plus several other bonuses, link in the description down below, or there'll be a link in the little box up above here. So if you're interested, check it out. Back to the training. And so now our columns, our demo set is set up right here. If you're like, oh shoot, I want to add a column or subtract a column, you just come back down here to customize columns. And then let's say I want to go ahead and delete these few right here, and I want to add these ones right here. And then I can save as preset, save it as demo, and it'll say you want to replace it. Yeah, I want to replace it. So now I got my new demo one, right? So kind of cool. We could also set them as default as well. So if you want to leave like yours as the default, you can go ahead and do that. So now every time I log into my ad account, I'll see demo as the default. But I'm going to go ahead and delete it right now because I already have one I have called conversions. I'm sorry. So conversions is mine, and I'm going to go ahead and set it as my default. And so there we go, conversions. And I'll go ahead and customize columns real quick. And these are all the columns that I have. I'll have them listed in the course notes. So if you want to copy them, and at least it's a starting ground, right? So I got like delivery, budget, amount spent, results, result rate, cost per result, reach, frequency, cost per 1,000 people reach, post comments, view contents, leads, and cost per lead, then add to cart, cost per add to cart, purchases. And I don't know why this isn't selected, website purchases. That's kind of weird. Oh wait, No, purchases just in general. Okay. And I could probably uncheck that one. I haven't messed with it in a while, and sometimes Facebook adds some different options. Like it used to just be purchases. Now they got mobile app purchases. So they got like different categories or subcategories of purchases. So it used to just be straight up purchases, and now I can select more options, I guess. All right, so purchase conversions, and then I got 10-second video views because I want to see how much I'm, because a lot of times my retargeting audiences are video views, so I want to see how much I'm spending on those video views. And then we got quality ranking, engagement rate ranking, and conversion rate ranking, and those are important. Let me go ahead and save this real quick. Replace. I'm going to have another video on it, but it comes down to your ads. So let me click into this real quick, and then I'll click into an ad, and we'll go into right here. So if I come all the way over here, we have some scores, and based off of these scores, we can decide whether we want to keep ads or remove ads or tweak ads or something like that. So that's a handy one to have. But as you can see now, all of my columns, and if you watched one of my previous videos, I think my 3-week or campaign recap video, you'll see all my columns. But so here they are kind of broken down. So here's all my amount spent and my results and my reach and frequency and all that type of stuff. So you can see how it kind of breaks things down, right? It kind of goes through the funnel. So I got clicks up front here, and then content views, and then my leads, and then my adds to carts, and then my purchases, and then my video views, and then my ad scores or ad rankings. So those are the columns that I tend to use. Hopefully, once you look at mine and then you kind of experiment and see what works for you, just play around. They're very helpful, and there's a lot of information that you can delve into, and that's it. I just wanted to point out this column feature, very helpful and useful. In the last video, we went ahead and adjusted our columns, which is very beneficial. It gives you, what you need to see in order to make some decisions about your advertising efforts. In this video, I want to show you a couple other nifty little features. You probably won't use it to really make many decisions. I typically recommend just using Facebook's algorithm to make your decisions for you. And of course, that just depends on the fact that you have your pixels set up properly and all of your events firing properly. As long as you have that stuff firing properly and you're telling Facebook what to optimize for, like its algorithm's smarter than you could possibly be. Like it knows what websites people are visiting, what they're doing on Facebook, what they're watching, what they're clicking on. It's tracking a ton of stuff. It's plugging all that stuff into the algorithm, and you can't even see what it's doing. So it knows a lot of stuff, and I would hesitate to touch some things for fear of messing up their algorithm. But I want to show you a couple other things that are kind of neat to look at, but I wouldn't make any decisions with. So coming in here, there's this other report called Breakdown Report, and it's pretty cool. We can do it by time, but probably what you want to do is by delivery, and you might want to do by age and gender, or you could also do platform and device. Those are two kind of nifty things. You could also do time of day if you want to as well, and then there's also actions as well. But we'll come into delivery, and I'll just kind of show you what it is. So we'll do age and gender real quick, and it basically breaks down which ages and genders, right, are producing the most results. So come in here, we see this one, 84 results, male age 25 to 34, and that makes sense. That's pretty much my target demographic right there, is males in that age range. Coming on down, male 35 to 44, so again, same type of concept, and then little older males. Females, not so much. And then so on. So, you can do all those compares and stuff. Kind of cool. Again, I would not go in and adjust your ad sets to exclude males or exclude females or exclude or include different age ranges. Again, let Facebook's algorithm, optimize for you. You can see that it's automatically optimizing for me as well. It's automatically putting more money into males and the right age ranges and so on without me having to go in there and tell it. It's doing it automatically. And let's see here. Let me just do gender real quick. So we see, majority of the budget's going on males, and it's producing better results. So it's automatically optimizing for me, right? So I wouldn't mess with it, is what I'm trying to say. But it is kind of cool to see. Placement and device is kind of cool as well. And so basically, so we can see which placements. So Facebook, newsfeed, mobile app, iPhone seems to be producing a lot of results right here. So that's kind of cool. I know most of my users now are, iPhone phone users. Coming on down here, another iPhone, Instagram. So that's kind of cool, and so on. So you can just, browse through kind of cool stuff, right? Again, I would not go in and make any decisions based off of this information. Let the algorithm decide for you. But also, kind of cool. To remove it, remove all breakdowns, and boom, there you go. Another thing that's kind of cool is you can do a compare. So if you click here, this time frame up here. So if you want to compare like the last 7 days, so last 7 days, and then I can do a compare. So I'm doing like a compare of the previous period, April 11th through April 17th versus April 18th through 24th. I can do that, and I can essentially see like my results difference. So let's go to, let's do cost per result and see what's gone down. And so we can see right here that my cost per result has gone down. So right now, the last week, 18 to 24 April versus 2 weeks ago, the 11th through 17, we can see that my cost per result has gone down, 30 cents or 15.8%. So it's red, so it kind of looks a little deceiving, but we want my cost per result to go down. So that's a good thing, right? And we would expect that. The Facebook's had an additional week to optimize, and so that looks like it's going in the right direction. It looks like Facebook's algorithm is doing some optimization. And so same thing right here with my affiliate offer as well. My cost per result has gone down, and there's no cost per result here because I have multiple different conversion objectives. But if I clicked into it, we should be able to see what's going on. So my cost per lead in this case has actually gone up quite a bit, almost 50% more. So, interesting. Maybe they're higher quality leads. Who knows? Maybe I got lucky at first. It's not the end of the world. I'm still only spending, 92 cents a lead. I'll take that all day. All right, anyway, so pretty cool stuff right here. We can come over and let's just look at purchases, for example. And let's see. So, cost per purchase has gone up on my cold traffic one. However, it's gone down by 80% on my warm traffic. So that's kind of cool. Maybe things are starting to optimize on my warm traffic and so on. So pretty cool stuff. Again, nothing to really make too many decisions off of. Again, just let Facebook's algorithm do its job. And also you can double check to make sure it is doing the job. Like, cost per result should be going down as time progresses. And, conversion rates should go up. I should be getting more conversions as time progresses and so on. So I just wanted to point these two reports out to you, the breakdown and then the compare report, because kind of cool stuff, can be helpful in letting you know if things are going in the right direction and kind of how Facebook is optimizing things for you. For example, like gender, ages, placements, devices, etc. You can kind of see how Facebook's algorithms like molding its decisions to fit your offers and ads and campaigns and ad sets and audience and all that stuff, right? So just kind of cool stuff. Wanted to show it to you, and that's it for this video. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about what to do if your campaign ad set ads are not delivering, because sometimes that happens. So I've already kind of addressed this in, I think it's going to be video 7.8. It's the one called 6 Days Later, when I go into my live campaign and I show you what's up. And I showed you that some of my campaigns and ad sets and ads weren't delivering. Like, I was trying to spend money, but no traffic was coming to them. And so one of the reasons for that is that my audiences aren't large enough. So if you have a custom audience, a retargeting audience that doesn't have more than, a couple hundred people in it, Facebook might not be able to deliver any impressions to that audience. It's just too small. So if it's too small, you can do like I did. I recommend going to watch that video if you haven't already. But what I had to go ahead and do is essentially remove my lead and my buyer campaigns and merge them into my warm traffic campaigns. Now, it's not as ideal because, it's not as targeted, but it wasn't delivering. My ads weren't delivering, and I wasn't pulling people through my advertising funnel. So I had to go ahead and I had to make some adjustments and basically blend everybody into the warm traffic audience and campaign. Okay, so that's one way to do it, is to go ahead and make the audience bigger by merging it into a warm traffic or a larger audience, right? So that's one of the big reasons why your campaign ads and ad sets aren't delivering, is your audience are too small. So if you're not getting deliveries, you're too small, go make a bigger audience. Another reason it might be not delivering is if you come in here and let's come in here and you've done something in here with your budget. So if you came down here and you set a cost control in here and it's too low, then Facebook's not going to deliver your ads. Now, I recommended not doing anything with this, so if you listened to me previously, you shouldn't have anything in here and this should not be the problem. But if you decided to go ahead and play with this and you're not getting results, go ahead and wipe this out, because you probably set this too low and Facebook's not going to be able to give you any impressions, because they don't know the cost, so they don't know how much to charge you and all that other stuff. So delete this out of here if you have something in here and you're not getting any delivery. And then one other strategy, if you're not getting any delivery, you might want to try and change your objective of your campaign. Like, for example, a lot of my campaigns, I do conversion objectives, right? That's what I go for, is conversions, whether it's like a view content or a sales funnel blueprint download or a lead or a purchase or whatever. I'd go for conversion objectives. And sometimes that objective, you need more audience, more data or something like that in order for that to be triggered, so to say. So one thing you could go ahead and do is basically, so what I try to do right here is I have my leads audience right here, and it was going for purchases, right? That's what I was optimizing for, was purchase conversions. So I had a conversion objective and it was not delivering. So what I did was I duplicate, and then I created a reach one. So I basically came in here and I adjusted the campaign details and I changed it to reach. And I was hoping that would go ahead and basically work and start delivering my ads to the audience, but it didn't work either. But anyway, that's one thing that could possibly work. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Is switching your campaign objective from something specific, like a conversion, to something broad, like reach or brand awareness. Either of those campaign objectives could be good, and they could make your ads start to show, even if you have smaller audiences. So those are 3 things to go ahead and check if your ads aren't delivering. They are to make sure that your custom audience is large enough. Also, make sure you haven't set a budget or a cap that you want to go ahead and spend. And also, maybe go ahead and try and change your campaign objective to something broader, like reach or brand awareness, and maybe that'll get your ads displaying. And I also recommend going back and watching video 7.8, the one called 6 Days Later, if you need help making your audiences larger, because that's what I had to do, right? I had to go ahead and combine some stuff, and you can kind of see my process on how I approached that issue that I had. And that is it for this video. In this video, I want to discuss with you a pretty important metric, which is frequency. And frequency is the average number of times each person saw your ad. So if your frequency is too high, then people will have seen your ad so many times that they'll become blind to it, they'll ignore it, or they might even become annoyed by it. So you want to be careful having a very high frequency, because high frequency typically produces worse results. But also you want to make sure that your frequency is high enough to where people have seen your ads at least twice or so, maybe 3 times, in order to make sure that they've seen it, it's sunk in, they paid attention to at least one of those times, and they know what you are, or your company is about, right? So what I optimize for, or I try and be around, is a frequency of about 3 for my retargeting audiences. So that's my goal, is about a 3 frequency. And you see right here on my cold traffic, I'm a 1.86, and then my free vault offer, I'm at a 6, and my warm traffic, I'm at a 4.76. And this is just at the campaign level, so we'll need to dive into the ad set and ad level to really get an idea of our frequency, because this is kind of deceiving. But anyway, cold traffic, let me just look at it real quick. And we see that my frequency is about a 1.46 and 1.84 for my lookalike LTV buyers. And that's fine. cold audiences like this that are millions of people, the frequency is going to be low. It's going to be pretty expensive to get the frequency more than it already is, just because, there's millions of people. So, each person might see the ad once or twice, and then it goes on to the next person in that 1 million, 2 million, 10 million person audience, right? So on a cold campaign, you can expect, your frequency to be, a little less than 2 probably, just like these are right here. So this is pretty normal for that cold traffic. But coming back out, I focus more on my retargeting efforts because those are the people that, you can bombard with ads accidentally without spending too much money. So when I click into it now, I see now that at my ad set levels, my frequency is right around 3, right? 3.11, 2.5, 3.12. So it's like perfect. This is like right where I want to keep it. So my budget, well, a couple ways to adjust frequency, of course, is your budget. So if your frequency is too low, you can increase your budget and then you'll spend more money, obviously, but also your ads will show more often and thus your frequency will increase, right? So if you have a low frequency, increase your budget. If your frequency is too high, decrease your budget, right? Makes some sense. Alternatively, you could go ahead and change like the time frame of your ad set. Now, of course, be careful doing this type of thing because if you change one ad set time frame, then you probably got to change another ad set time frame and so on. So if I push this from days 0 through 4, well, then I might need to move this for days 5 through 8, and then this one days 9 through 12 or whatever, right? So be careful if you start extending time ranges. But obviously, if you extend a time range, well, then people have more days to see the ad, and therefore your frequency would likely go up on those lot longer time frames because there's more time for somebody to see an ad. Whereas if you shorten the time frame, well, then there's probably less time that somebody will see an ad and your frequency will probably go down, right? So those are a couple ways to kind of play with frequency. Budget's the easiest way than messing with time frames, but you could do that. Alternatively, you could launch another like ad set targeting the same group of people. And so then basically your traffic would be split between 2 different ad sets, and therefore your frequency would be split between 2 different ad sets. Now, of course, when you do that, however, you're going to be competing against yourself. So if I created another The Vault days 8 through 11 ad set, I would have, I'd be competing against the same audiences that are right here. So I'd be, my prices would likely increase, but it would adjust my frequency, and there's kind of reasons to do that, typically with testing. But anyway, that's just another way to go ahead and decrease frequency. And so I'm good with my warm campaign here. Again, the frequency is like right in line with what I want, right around that 3. So I am good to go there. Looking at my free Vault affiliate offer, my frequency is a 6.03. So that's pretty high. Okay, I'm kind of wearing some people out probably. So one thing about this one, I mentioned this in a previous video. I don't know if you remembered or pay attention or whatever, but this is a long time frame. My time frame for this one is basically whenever somebody completed something. So, 11 days. So that's basically my time frame, 11 days through day 30. So it's basically like 19 or 18 day window where people are going to be shown these ads. So that's a long time frame for the same group of people to be shown ads. So what I could do, of course, is maybe decrease this time frame, maybe make it 21 days, so days 11 through 21, make it a 10-day time frame. So that could be applicable on this particular ad set. It's changing my time frame. Alternatively, I could adjust my budget. It's $2 a day right now. I mean, I could lower it to $1, and conceivably, if I divide my budget by 50%, then my reach should decrease by 50%, in which case 6 divided by 2 would be 3, right? So changing my budget might be a good option. Alternatively, I might go ahead and launch another ad set in here, which is what I'm actually going to go ahead and do. I'm going to launch another ad set with some content in here. So that way it'll be the same group of people, so I will be competing against myself, and my prices could go up a little bit. But I'm willing to do that because I want to, put some content in front of these people while at the same time I'm showing my affiliate offer, and who knows, maybe they'll read a blog post, opt into my list, and buy the vault later down the road. So who knows? So ultimately what I'm going to do is set up another ad set in here targeting the same group of people and just present content to them. So basically between those two ad sets, my frequency will likely go down on each ad set, even though my costs might go up a little bit, right? But it's okay. I'm willing to do that, as I think it's going to make sense and help out in the long run. And so that's really it for this video. I just want to talk to you about frequency real quick. Again, I aim for that 3-ish range for all my retargeting audiences and retargeting campaign. It's enough times so somebody will have seen the ad and paid attention for at least one of those times, but it's not so many times that they become blind to my ads or annoyed by my ads, right? So that's it. Just something to pay attention to is that frequency, and that is it for this video. In this video, we're going to go ahead and talk about the Ad Relevance Diagnostics feature that Facebook offers, and it is incredibly helpful. I highly recommend checking it out, and I'll have a link to it in the course notes and all that type of stuff. But basically, we come down here, it tells us different metrics basically. So Ad Relevance Diagnostics, right? And we got quality ranking, engagement rate ranking, and conversion rate ranking. And we got average or above average, or of course below average. And basically then it tells us the causes and then recommendations. So basically, if we can plug in our information, it gives us what's wrong or what's working and how to fix it. So it tells us the answer. So this is incredibly helpful, and it's great for testing and tweaking things. And that's why I wanted to cover it in this module or this video right here. So basically, if your ad relevance diagnostics are average or above average, you're all good to go, optimized for your advertising objectives. So that's awesome. And then if we got a below average over here, but the rest is good to go, then the ad is perceived as low quality, and improve the quality of your creative assets or target an audience with more likely to perceive the ad as high quality, and so on. So it tells us what to do, right? Pretty cool stuff. So now you might be wondering, okay, cool, where do I get this information from? And I pointed to it earlier, but we'll do it again. So basically, when you come into your ads manager, and we got to go to an audience and an ad set that has enough reach and frequency. If your ads don't have enough reach, they won't have the diagnostic information with them, okay? So that's one of the downsides. I think you need at least 1,000 people to have viewed your ad before this diagnostic information starts showing up. So if you haven't had 1,000 views, 1,000 reach, then your diagnostics won't show up. So that's one of the downsides, is you do need a fair amount of traffic first. So anyway, let's go on in here, and I'll go to one that has the information. And I'm going to scroll all the way to the right here. And the reason mine's on the right is because that's where I put it, right? We talked about columns before and customized columns. And so these ones are the quality ranking, engagement rate ranking, and conversion rate ranking. So these three are the ones that they're talking about here: quality, engagement, conversion. Quality, engagement, conversion, right? So cool, got them in the right order too, so we can easily, check things out. And so here we go. So here are the ones that have enough information. So above average, 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 and so on. You can see, you can read. So mine are doing okay. I got stuff above the industry standard, basically. And then you see these two ads, they don't have any information here, and that's because their reach isn't high enough. Let's see if I can try and figure out the reach. So I think it's 1,000. You see this one's 1,100, and it has information on it, whereas 367 reach is not enough to trigger the diagnostics. So if you don't see the information, you need higher reach. But you can see how helpful this can be, right? It tells you what to do. I can't believe Facebook put this together for us. But just for example, let's come here. So if we have above average, quality ranking, and below average engagement, below average conversion, then the ad isn't spurring interest or producing conversions, okay? So improve both the ad's relevance to your audience, for example, by making it more eye-engaging, interesting, or eye-catching, and the call to action of your ad or post-click experience. Alternatively, target an audience more likely to interact with your blah, 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 right? So it tells you all the different scenarios on what to go ahead and do. So this is very helpful in figuring out what ads are working, which ads are not working. Of course, if you have like below average across the board, you probably want to come in here and shut that ad off. There's no point in running it. Try and produce some ads, that are average or above average, and that'll obviously improve your results. And in the next video, we're going to talk about how to like introduce new ads and all that other type of stuff, how to do some testing, right? Because that's what we want to go ahead and do, is test some different ads and targeting options to try and improve these scores over here. I also want to point out something very critical. Like, all these scores and everything are very helpful and can give us some ideas of where to go. Like, we just see what we got going on over here, come over here and, follow their recommendations, right? But if we come over here and we look at our cost per result, and our cost per result is not in line with what we need it to be for our business. Like, for example, maybe my cost per result needs to be less than $1.50. If it's not less than $1.50, like, I'm going to go broke, be out of business, living in a cardboard box, right? So in that case, none of my ads are doing well or well enough because my cost per result is above $1.50, right? So even though Facebook says I'm above average, I'm not doing well enough for my business. So that's something to bear or keep in mind. Is just because Facebook says you're doing good might not be completely true. So if you're not doing well enough for what you need, then you do need to make some changes. You would need to run some tests and try and optimize things a little bit more to get your cost per result into a window that makes sense for you and your business. Now, with that said, if you are above average across the board, like, it's going to be very, very hard to move this needle over here. Like, it gets harder and harder. If you have good stuff already, like, that becomes like industry standard prices almost. Like, if you're above average or average, like, that's kind of like you're kind of there. You're doing good. So it's going to be hard to lower these prices. Whereas if you have like below average, like, you got work to do, you can improve a lot of stuff, and you can definitely decrease your cost per results. Anyway, I think you get my point. If your cost per result is not in line with what you need for your business, you might have to go back to the drawing board and do some testing and some tweaking, which we're going to cover in the following video, how to do like a test properly. Also note too, like, as time moves on, like, results change, right? We kind of looked at this before, so just real quick, let me do a 7-day, and I'll go ahead and do a compare as well. So we can kind of see maybe it has gone down, right? So cost per result. And so here my cost per result has gone up a little bit, but on the other ones it's gone down. So actually in the last 7 days, my cost per result is $1.56 here, $2.65 here, so that's way high. But right here and right here, I'm actually at $1.50 and less. So it's actually, going in the right direction. So be mindful of your time frames as well when you're doing that, because obviously as time progresses, results should get better. As the algorithm gets smarter and optimizes more, your results should get better. So I wanted to point that out too. Like, just because you see something crazy going on, make sure you're looking at like, a time frame, a time window that's like recent, instead of like the life frame, what is it called? Lifetime. What the heck's wrong with my language? So lifetime. Instead of looking at lifetime, make sure you're looking at like a 7 or 5 or 3-day window to make sure that your results aren't what they want. So my results are under $1.50, like over here, and $1.58 overall. So it's going down compared to $1.93 2 weeks ago. So it's trending in the right direction. It's 18% down. So I'm trending in the right direction. So I just wanted to point all that stuff out. Okay, I know it's a lot. My main point is, just because this is all good and gravy doesn't mean that you're going to be making money. Okay, you could still be losing money. So verify, make sure you're trending in the right direction to where you need to be, and so on. And then in the next video, I'll show you how to do some tests so we can make sure that things are good. All right, so that's it. Covered a lot. Thank you. In this video, I'm going to go ahead and talk a bit about testing, and I'm going to show you how to set up a test inside of the Facebook Ads Manager so that way you can do it properly, because if you don't do it properly, you can mess up the algorithm and all that other stuff, and you don't want to mess up the algorithm at all, ever. All right, so anyway, obviously testing is a very, very vast subject. You know, people have like masters and PhDs in testings and multivariants and all that other stuff, right? There's entire books on testing. So testing is complicated. Testing is hard. Testing takes time. It takes money. Testing is not easy, okay? I can't possibly cover everything there is about testing in this course. This course is about getting your Facebook ads campaign live and being able to optimize and tweak it along the way. And that's what I'm going to do, is give you the best possible way you can tweak and optimize your campaign along the way. And testing is a little bit part of it, right? But again, testing, it's hard and complicated and takes a lot of effort. So anyway, just to give you some background on testing, of course, there's lots of different things you can test. There's like 85 billion things you can test. But some of the big ones, of course, probably the biggest being the offer itself. So what you're offering to somebody is the biggest thing that makes the difference. And an offer could be anything. It could be like the offer to watch this video on Facebook. Like that video on Facebook could be your offer, right? If your video sucks, people don't want to watch it, right? So like, it doesn't matter how good your copy is around that video. If the video sucks and people start with that, then it doesn't matter, right? An offer goes beyond that, of course, to like blog posts. Like if a blog post is good or not, you want a good offer. A good blog post is a good offer, right? Also, like a lead magnet, your lead magnet needs to be something somebody wants. Otherwise, they're not going to give you their contact information. They're not going to opt in. You're not going to get them on your list. You're not going to grow that relationship with them, right? So you need to have good lead magnets, good offers. Your products and services that you're trying to sell have to be good, right? It doesn't matter how good your ads are or anything else for that matter if what you're trying to sell somebody isn't something somebody wants, right? So a lot of people miss this part. Like they just think that they could just find some product on AliExpress and try and sell it, but it could be bad. And I do have some training on offer development. I'll try and link to it. I think it's actually a blog post on how to create a great offer. So I will go ahead and link to it, because an offer is more than just your product or your service. It's everything that goes with it, like the guarantee, any sort of bonuses or additions or anything like that. So an offer is more than just like the product or service. So it's all bundled together into an offer. And you need to have good offers is my point. And again, it goes from everything from your content to to lead magnets to what you're selling. All that stuff is offers. If it sucks, doesn't matter how good anything else is, doesn't matter how good your pixels set up and how good your events fire. If your offers suck, your campaigns are going to suck. Okay? Good. I had to beat that offer thing to the ground because a lot of people forget the offer is the most important part. You can screw up your ads. As long as your offer is good, you'll be fine. Okay? Offer, offer, offer. And this has nothing to do with Facebook. Your offer, what you're offering. All right. The next thing, of course, then is the page, typically that goes along with your offer. So if this comes down to like headline testing and content and images and subheadline and all that, and bullet points and all that other crap that goes on the page to present your offer, right? You can test the heck out of pages as well. And of course, if you don't have a good page that presents your offer well, it doesn't, you're not going to get but so far. Again, if you have a good offer, it can kind of make up for your page's lack of your page's lack of performance. All right, the next thing, of course, is the ad. So somebody clicks on your ad to get to your page to see your offer, right? So this is a lot of what we're going to discuss, of course, is ad testing, because I'm not going to go into page testing and offer testing here because we're talking about Facebook. So anyway, ad testing, of course. So you got your copy, your call to action, your image, your video, etc. All that stuff is stuff you can go ahead and test on Facebook, right? So that's your ad. And then, of course, that kind of goes hand in hand with your ad is your audience. So your ad has to, of course, speak to the audience that you're targeting. If you're, trying to sell dog toys, but you're talking to people that hate dogs, then like obviously your ads are going to suck, right? They're not going to perform well. So your ad and your audience obviously have to go hand in hand with each other. And then of course the ad has to go hand in hand with the page, and then the page has to go hand in hand with the offer, right? It all builds on each other. Like if you have any disconnects between your audience and your ad and your page and your offer, well, stuff isn't going to work well. So as you can see, testing involves all this stuff. It's like a long flow. Like what you do, it's a butterfly effect or chaos theory. So if you change something here in your audience, well, it could impact your ad, which will impact your page, which will impact your offer, and so on. So it flows. The changes you make impact everything else. So this is where testing gets very, very complicated, because changing your ad could change everything. Changing your audience could change everything. So it's hard, it's complicated. And then finally, you have your objectives. So it could be, conversion objectives versus video view objectives versus click or link click objectives, and so on. So a lot of different things. What you choose right here could impact your offer down the line, because, different people will flow differently through everything. So again, very complicated, it's hard to do again. But we're going to do the best we can. And I talked to you already about the ad relevance diagnostics. That chart and the information Facebook provides you is very, very helpful. It's like the best thing that you could use to get on the right track. Okay, and that's what I recommend using. And what we're going to use is the ad relevance diagnostics, because Facebook gives this to us, and it's very, very helpful and easy, and it simplifies things. Because like I said, you change something down here, it could affect your offer. Butterfly effect, chaos theory, all that stuff applies. But we're going to keep it simple, ad relevance diagnostics, and use that. So basically, let me come to the Facebook Ads Manager real quick. All right, so here we are in the Ads Manager, and what we're going to go ahead and do is identify what we want to go ahead and split test, right? So I'm going to come into my campaign, ad set, and ads, and I can go look at my ad diagnostics over here, and everything's above average or average, so I should be good to go, right? That's kind of the idea there. But if I came over to my cost per result, I know that I need to be, if you watched the last video, let's for example say that I need to be $1 or less per result, otherwise I'm going to go out of business. So I need to do some optimization here. I need to create some new ads, or maybe change my targeting or something. Something's got to change, because I'm going to go broke with what I have set up currently. So that's going to be my test. Is I'll test some new ads maybe. Anyway, there's a couple ways I could do a test. I'm going to show you this one way, just how to get it started. I'm not going to go through the whole process because it's very complicated and I don't use it. But what you could do is you come over here, just click on any old ad, it doesn't matter. And then you see this button here for create a new A/B test for your campaign. So you click that button, and then you're on your campaign already, and you can go ahead and select custom right here, and you hit next, and then it gives you some options, basically your test name, your schedule, and then how it's going to determine the winner. And then you can duplicate your campaign, and what it's going to go ahead and do is basically create two different campaigns for what you have. So you have this little one with the measuring glass or whatever, the science thing, because you're running a test on it. A beaker? Is it a beaker? Sure, a beaker. And so that one's the test one versus this one. And so you can make a bunch of changes or whatever you want to do in this test one. And so doing your split test this way, Facebook's able to separate your targeting a little bit better and keep better track of things. But it's also very hard, in my opinion, to see what is happening and to kind of measure your results. I don't know, it's just very convoluted. And as you see already, it's kind of complicated to get to this point already. And then I can come in here and I can edit my ads, and I don't know, it just gets very confusing to me, and I don't like using this method. And it's also pretty expensive as well. So I don't do that method. So I just wanted to point it out to you. You can learn more about it. Google, I don't know, A/B test, Facebook. I'll try and put some links in the course notes to some stuff that's helpful. Instead, what I would do for my split test is, if I want to test some new ads, what I'd come in here and do is simply, I'd be like, okay, this ad set works better than this ad set, right? My cost per sales funnel blueprint's lower in this one, so this audience must be better, right? So I like this audience better than this audience, and so I'd go ahead and duplicate, and I'd go ahead and leave everything the way it is. I know it says something about create a test and also create a duplicate to A/B test don't do that. That's what I just did essentially. We're not going to do that. We're just going to hit duplicate. And now I could go ahead and call this one test if I wanted to, or something like that. And I'd go ahead and leave the same audience, right? I decided that this audience is a good audience. It's generating good results. So I wouldn't mess with my audience. And to be fair, like a A/B test, you're only supposed to test one variable at a time. You're not supposed to test like the audience and the ads, because that'd be like two variables or more variables if you want to include like the headline copy and the image or the video or whatever else. So, I mean, that could be into multivariate testing and all that other stuff. And I kind of talked about it with this slide here. Basically, there's the butterfly effect, chaos theory, yada, yada. So I would not change your audience if you're going to change your ads. Vice versa, I would not change your ads if you're going to test your audience, right? So either test one or the other, your audience or your ads, okay? So that's what I recommend, one or the other. And so anyway, I think my audience is good, but I do want to go ahead and test some different ads. So what I could come in here and do is come in here and edit my ad or create new ads if I want to, and, you know, just kind of throw them into the mix and, you know, see if I can get something that converts better, right? Produces better results. And then what I want to go ahead and do, of course, is, you know, make my changes to my test ad set here and whatever, leave my remaining ads in here, and I'd go ahead and publish it, and it'd go get approved and run, and then I would let it run and I would see what results it generates. Now there's a caveat here, and it's a pretty big caveat. I'm going to be competing against myself here. So since I'm targeting the same audience in both of these ad sets, I'm competing against myself. So my costs could go up a little bit. Okay, they could go up a little bit, especially if I was targeting smaller audiences. Like if I was targeting my retargeting audiences here, my costs would probably most likely go up because my audiences are smaller. Whereas these audiences are 2 million people, so my costs probably won't go up too much. So anyway, my point is my costs may go up, so that's okay because it's temporary. But what I then compare is my costs from the start of the test till whenever I'm measuring it. So if I start my test on April 25th and I'm going to let it run for a week, I would change my window here, and it'd be 25 to whatever it is, to May. So I'd update it. So that way I'm only looking at my testing results and comparing those. And then I could compare like, oh, it's, you know, $4.75 or $4.47 versus $1 over here. This one is obviously better, right? So that is one big thing to note when you're doing this type of testing. If you're testing against the same audience, you're going to have increased costs, and you need to make sure you look at the same time frame, so that way you're comparing, you know, apples to apples in terms of cost per result. And of course, you could come in here and see which ads are doing the best and all that type of stuff as well, and figure out what's working better and all that type of stuff. And at that point, you could go ahead and turn off some ads or turn off an ad set that's not working. Like if my test ad set outperforms my other ad set, I could just go ahead and flip this thing off and let it run with what I've got, right? So hopefully that makes some sense. And again, these tests are for a limited period of time. I do 7 days or so to test things out, give it a full week to run its course, and then compare that week's results. So that way you're comparing apples to apples. And again, I recommend testing either the audience, so same ads, different audience, or testing the ads, so that would be different ads, but the same audience, right? Don't test both at the same time. Don't change your audience and change your ads at the same time. Otherwise, you know, that's a big change. And so anyway, that is it for testing. Again, testing is very, very complicated. So many variables, so many different things play a part in it, but we're going to do the best we can using the ad relevance diagnostics, and then you can test different ads or different audiences and really try and hone things in to get the results that are best for your business. Hey, it's Nathan Williams with Crazy Marketing. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Facebook's dynamic creative to create an ad set and an ad that you can go ahead and split test a bunch of different variations to figure out which like copy and images work the best. And then later on, you want to create an ad using the one that works the best. So that's what we're going to do in this video, dynamic creative. Let's get into it. So here I am in my ads manager, and I'm going to go to one of my campaigns and one of my ad sets. And so say like I've been running one for a little while, and I've talked about this in another video, but like we check out our quality ranking, engagement rate ranking, and conversion rate ranking, and we notice that it's not doing very well, right? It's below average across the board, and we're like, shoot, I gotta do something about this because I'm not getting the results that I probably should be getting. I'm performing below average. So anyway, I know what the issue is with this one. My frequency is 6.26, which is ridiculously high. You usually want a frequency around 3, and that would obviously improve my rankings over here if I don't, burn people out on the ad. So one thing I could definitely do is go ahead and adjust my budget. But anyway, besides that, I want to go ahead and create some different variations of this ad to see if I can come up with some better copy, images, etc., and maybe increase my rankings there. So what I want to do is come back out to the ad set level like I just did, and I want to go ahead and duplicate the ad set. And it's going to ask us a couple questions. So there's original campaign. We want to leave this option set. It says it's create a test to compare a new ad set to your original ad set. So that sounds like something we want, but we don't. This gets a little confusing, and your budget gets a little weird when you do the A/B test within Facebook. So I recommend following the steps that I'm about to show you here. It's easier to keep track of, and it works. So leave the original setting, and then number of copies of each ad set. We're just going to do 1 because we're going to use dynamic creative, which will create a bunch of different ads for us. So we'll leave that. It doesn't really matter what you do here because you're going to create a new ad anyway. So we can leave it checked and duplicate. All right, now I can go ahead and set up my ad set. So I'll probably do like dynamic creative test, something like that, right? So, and of course I'm going to keep my objective the same, which is traffic, and it's to my website. But right here I want to go ahead and select the dynamic creative option, and I want to go ahead and turn that on. So that's what I want to turn on so I can do dynamic creative, right? So I turn that on. I want to leave my budget the same, audience the same, because I'm still testing the same audiences. All this other stuff stays the same, automatic placements, everything else stays the same. The things I'm testing have to do with my ad, not my targeting, right? So that's what I want to go ahead and do. And then what I want to do is come into my ad now, and now I can go ahead and set up some different copy, images, etc. that Facebook can use to run tests on. So I go ahead and select my identity, of course. I have my ad format, so I'm going to keep it single image or video. And then I can go ahead and select up to 10 images or videos to generate multiple combinations. So I can add some videos and images. So now we get down to this option here, which is optimize creative for each person. So this is kind of a cool idea. So this is more for if you want to run your dynamic ad for long term, like you want to just continuously run your dynamic ad, then Facebook can go ahead and optimize it, the copy and text based off individuals. So if you're running it long term, you could go ahead and leave this checked. But we're running this short term. We just want to run it for long enough to get some data points on like what headlines working the best, what descriptions working the best, what image or video is working the best. That's what we're doing. We're doing a short-term test to figure out which combination of stuff works best. That's our goal with our dynamic ad. So we'll run this for a week or so maybe just to get enough data. And then we can go ahead and compare it against like our other ad that we have running, see if we have a better variation and so on. So I'll talk about this later on in this video, and we'll come and we'll create a new ad and all that stuff based off of our data. So you'll see it in real time as well. So anyway, we're going to turn this off is my point because we're just doing a short-term test. If you're doing it long-term, go ahead and leave this checked. And then basically what you do is you come in here and you can create different text and headlines and descriptions, and you could even and calls to action and so on. And it's pretty self-explanatory, right? So if I want a new image, I come in here, select an image, and I can go ahead and pick an image out and continue. I could go ahead and add new videos if I want to. If I want to add some new primary text, I click this button here, and then I can go ahead and type up some text in here, test a different headline. Go ahead, headline, cool, different description if I want to, and so on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick with actual words so we can actually run a good test, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I went ahead and added some different stuff. So I added a couple images in addition to the video that I'm running already. So we'll see if an image or video does better. I added a different setup of copy. It's pretty much says the same thing, but a little different, right? See what works better. I added trying a different headline as well, so testing that out. And then I left the description the same because oftentimes the description doesn't show up anyway, so I think it's kind of, I don't know how much it helps to test that. The headline and the image and the body, the text, are more important, right? So that's what I'm going after. This is the same website URL. Call to action is the same. And then I can go ahead down here and plug in my parameter code. So I threw that in there real quick, and cool. Let me go ahead and change the name of this as well. I'll just call this Dynamic Creative. All right, so now this is what my ad looks like, and I can view it on different devices and placements if I want to. And then I can also come up here to view more variations to see, any combination of ad variation, right? So I can try it with this text here. I try it with this headline, this image right here. See what it looks like with this headline, like this description, which I didn't change the description. And then I could change where it's showing up. And so I can just make sure, it looks good on all placements, right? So something like that. So anyway, that's pretty self-explanatory. I'm sure you can click around and see what it's all about. Anyway, so I'm happy with it. I've got my variations. I'm gonna go ahead and publish it now. And it's gonna go out into the world and start running, and I'll come back and check on it in a few days, and we'll look at the stats together, and we'll cover what to do with this information that we're gathering. So I'll see you in a couple days. All right, so it's been a little over a week since I launched this test, and now I want to go ahead and take a look at my results and see if there's any sort of combination of image, headline, text, etc. that's converting better than our control ad. So let's get into it. So here is my test right here. Again, I was spending $2 a day, spent $18. So again, a little over 2 weeks, not 2 weeks, 1 week, 33 clicks, 80.87% result rate, and so on. So these are the overall stats, but what we want to look at is like the image, the headline, the description or text, etc. So to do that, what we want to do is come up to the breakdown report area here, and we want to go ahead and look at the different categories here. So, and I'm under by dynamic creative asset, right? So if I do image, video, and slideshow, we click that, and now we see it drops down the different images that we were going and testing with our ad. And so we got, right here, this one has the most results on it, and cost per results 50 cents, which is less than what our control is. So that's kind of a good sign, right? So maybe this image is better than our control. But anyway, what we want to go ahead and do now is compare the different images and videos, the different creatives to each other. So what I like doing is using a split test or A/B testing significance calculator, and I'm using Neil Patel's, but there's a bunch of them out there, and I'll include a link to this one if you want to check it out. It's easy and clean, so I like this one. But anyway, so what we want to go ahead and do is we want to go ahead and throw our impressions in here. So I didn't actually look what I had, 2567. So 2567. And then we want to go ahead and throw our results, which are 25. So 25. And then we want to compare it to our other image. So I got 925, 925, and we've got 6 over here. 6 results. And it tells us now what happened. So test A converted 51% better, so that's pretty dang good, than test B. I'm 84% certain that the changes in test A will improve your conversion rate. Unfortunately, your results are not statistically significant. So basically what that means is there's not enough data for me to be positive that version A is better than version B. It's only 84% significant. Usually you want a significance level of 95 or higher, and to get that, you need more data. So basically I need to spend more time and money pushing more traffic in order to make a good decision on which creative is the best one. Now let's go ahead and check out our other creative as well. So I had 292 and 2. So 292 and 2. And so again, test A is better than test B by 43%. So it's not as better, if that's a word or phrase, not as better than this one, but it's still better than the video one. So, and 72% certain, again, I would need more data to make a good informed decision, but the stats are showing that this image is better. All right, so moving on down, website URL, we didn't test that, but if you were testing website URL, you could of course go ahead and run that. But we did test text, so we got a couple different combinations here. So we've got, let's see, we got 2256 and 20, 2256 and 20, and then we've got 1530 and 13, 1530 and 13. So test A converted only 5% better than test B. I'm 55% certain, blah, blah, blah. So the copy doesn't seem to be, that significant, 5%. I mean, 5% is kind of big, I guess, in a way, but it's not as big as, the other one that was 51%, the creative. So you can see, obviously, the creative, the image, the video, whatever it is, usually has the biggest impact on the performance of your ad. And if you were to test anything at all, it'd be that creative right there. That's probably going to get you the better results. But just for the sake of example, we tested several different variables. So anyway, this one right here is better than the other one. Again, not statistically significant, but it's looking headed in that direction. All right, we also tested one other thing, I believe, breakdown and headline. So we got a couple different headlines here. All right, so this one looks like it did significantly better. I see, just looking at cost per result at 46 cents versus 88 cents. So that's something to note. But anyway, we'll compare it 25.49 and 26. 25.49 and 26. And then we've got 12.37 and 7. 12.37 and 7. All right, so test A converted 81% better. So dang, that's pretty impressive. So your creative, your image or video, and headline, I mean, it did much more impact than my text copy. And my text copy wasn't that different, really, so that's not completely surprising. I think I changed a few words. But anyway, point is kind of interesting. And 95% certain right here, so I definitely have a better headline. My test is statistically significant, so that's kind of cool. I do have a provenly better headline, so that's cool. All right, so just for the sake of example, let's go ahead and say that everything was statistically significant, and we want to go ahead and create a brand new ad using all the best stuff. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So what I want to do is duplicate my ad set here, and we'll leave all the default settings and just duplicate. And I'm going to go ahead and call this one version 2. So this is just my new ad. All right, all the ad set stuff can stay the same, but I want to come down here to creative, and I want to go ahead and make sure I keep the best ones. So I want to delete out this image, this video, and then I want to go ahead and delete out the worst copy, and then I want to go ahead and delete off the worst performing headline. So I'm only using the best stuff, right? So basically I have only the best stuff here, and then I can come back to my ad set and go to dynamic creative right here, and I'm going to turn that off and continue. And then I'm going to go back to here and best ad ever. Of course, we can run more tests and everything. It'll be good to test, this ad versus the control ad now. So we'll let these two ads run for a little bit and see which one does better. And so basically the testing always continues. But anyway, we're going to come down here and make sure that everything looks normal and right and everything, because sometimes when you switch off dynamic creative, some funky stuff kind of happens. So you just want to double check and make sure everything's still looking good. Yep, everything's looking good. So then I do request manual review and publish. And I'd go ahead and publish my new creative that's using the best combination of stuff, the best image or creative, the best headline, the best description or copy at the top. And I'd come back out here, and I want to go ahead and turn off my test now. So now basically I'm running a test between these two, my best ad ever and then my control ad. So in a week or two, I'd come back in here, I'd go ahead and change my time frame to only support the week or two that I've been testing, right? So I'd do like the last 7 days. So that way I'm looking at like the most current stats for my ads when they're competing against each other, right? I want to look at that same time frame when they're competing against each other. So I look at the same time frame, and then I compare this ad to this ad, and I'd use the statistical significance calculator, see which ad is better, and so on. And then whatever one's better, I'd go ahead and leave running, and I turn off this old one, and then I'd probably do another dynamic creative of the new one and try and test something else, right? So it's like a never-ending cycle of testing, and yeah, that's how you do it. Do some ad testing or creative testing with dynamic creative. Hopefully this was helpful, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. Alrighty, so I hope you enjoyed the training. Now I have a quick special offer for you. So if you want a digital copy as well as an audio copy of my book here, as well as 20 pre-written emails to make your email copywriting a piece of cake, and I also have a 7-figure funnel. It's the first funnel that I built that generated over 7 figures of revenue for a small business, and the funnel includes a course on how to set it up and also how to actually sell that funnel to small businesses. So if you're interested in starting a digital marketing agency, that course and that funnel are an ideal option for you. And there's a bunch of other benefits and stuff, bonuses and stuff. Anyway, link in the description down below, or there's going to be a little button probably up here in the video if you're interested in checking it out. Yeah, just check it out if you're interested. And other than that, I hope you have a great rest of the day.